All right, so this is called MrBeast's Squid Game ripoff. Misses the whole point of the show's anti-capitalist message. You know, it's very interesting. It's by TheKavernacle. I think that's how you say it. It's very interesting how everybody kind of just will interpret that show the way that they want to interpret it. You know, like for instance, Ben Shapiro interprets it as an anti-capitalist show. This guy interpreted it as anti-capitalist. To me, it just shows not necessarily anti-capitalism, but just there's clearly an issue, like a debt crisis in not the United States, well, probably in the United States too, but in South Korea, right? I don't think it's like that hyperbolic where it's like this is anti-capitalist. I think it's more of like, hey, we got to get this shit under control a little better. You know what I mean? It's still it's not necessarily criticism of capitalism, just the worst aspects of it that we can control. But anyway. You know, let's get this going.
I recreated every
It's weird though. There's like a lot of hate with MrBeast, and I guess
single set from Squid Game in real life. And whichever one of these 456 people survives the longest wins 456 grand. Congratulations on winning. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You have 7 days to win $10,000. And obviously,
who are these people? Are they other YouTubers or something?
massive shout out to the creator of Squid Game. We took huge inspiration from the show and I genuinely appreciate you. Goodbye.
I've attempted to cancel MrBeast 2 times now. First,
that's pathetic. You've attempted to cancel MrBeast? He's not even, at least he's not even hiding it. Not just criticize things you don't like, you've attempted to legitimately cancel. Okay.
for even creating this Squid Game video in the first place, and second for his charity work. Now it
Why?
seems you MrBeast simps are never going to get the message. You guys idealize MrBeast, the Elon Musk wannabe, no matter what he does. A lot of you guys leave comments in the
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really necessarily care about MrBeast at all. Oh, they're all fans that ordered his merch. That's a little weird. It's like a lottery ticket to play a game. I guess it's kind of cool. But yeah, whatever.
video saying how could someone...
I mean, to me, it just seems like a complete waste. Like, kind of like a dumb waste of resources. That's my fucking take on that. But
I recreated
oh shit.
video saying how could someone
Sorry.
my size effectively cancel MrBeast? Well, third time's the
Why would you
charm.
want to?
I'm going to cancel MrBeast for his stupid Squid Game video. And knowing how cancel culture works, I honestly think this time I'm going to successfully cancel MrBeast. The Squid
This has to be like ironic, yeah.
Game video will be his last. He will never work again after people have watched my video. So making a third video of MrBeast in 3 weeks may come across as excessive, but I feel like we need to conclude this trilogy. Some would say it's the best trilogy of videos ever made.
Well, excessive. Like, it's just like pathetic that he's trying to cancel, but it has to be satire, right?
And I need to cancel MrBeast for a final time for his recent Squid Game video. And I just realized the reason I started making videos on him again in the first place was because of me seeing pictures from this Squid Game video set. Now, a lot of you MrBeast simps will be in the comments, no doubt, already writing ridiculous stuff and replying to people who criticize him. But I can't address all my points and all my problems MrBeast in this video specifically. So thankfully for you MrBeast simps, you can go watch my other content on him. So 2 weeks ago, I made a video about this Squid Game stuff and about how I find his content like generally exploitative. And as we all know, MrBeast is essentially the second coming of Jesus Christ. So I also made a video talking about his charity work and how it's hard for me to believe that he is a great environmentalist while shilling for cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And generally talking about millionaires and billionaires and tax
What the fuck
incentives.
does NT have to do with the environment, dude?
For running charities if you're super wealthy. Now, the video today will not be as scathing as those videos. It won't be outlining like loads and loads of my criticism with MrBeast's content in general. But what I'm going to do in this video is react to the Squid Game video itself. Not so much like showing you all the games, but maybe taking specific bits of the video and talking about them. Then I want to talk about like, the general reaction to the video as well. And the main point of the video, I guess, is to talk about how Squid Game is the creative vision of a guy based on his own problems with capitalism, debt, and everything like that. And isn't it so American to take this and spin it around into something that makes you a lot of money with the help of a sponsor of a mobile game? Literally taking an anti-capitalist piece of art, sanitizing it.
I don't think it's American, it's capitalist. It's a very capitalist perspective.
Using it to make yourself profit so that most people will only remember your stupid video when they think about the series. But we're going to get
I don't think anything could overshadow Squid Game, like, in the Squid Game universe. I don't think MrBeast's video about Squid Game is going to overshadow the message of Squid Game.
to all of that today. And hopefully after this, MrBeast will finally be cancelled. Now, before we get any further, I want to plug my social media and my Patreon for about 1 minute. And I actually love some of the comments by MrBeast people through Patreon. So if you would like me covering more, a crazy amount, like worthwhile into like month, or check out TheKavernacle on Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to get back into that next week. But subscribe to TheKavernacle Extra to keep up with my live stream archives. For every 5k, we also get a new chocolate orange. Help me get one more before the end of the year. So MrBeast's Squid Game video has now been out for about a day.
Okay. Little ironic that we're shitting on, I mean, I guess. I guess I would say it's a little ironic that we're shitting on capitalism while he tries to get money, but I guess that's not exploiting capitalism, you know? The only thing exploiting capitalism is, I guess, the lottery, I guess, right? Because we basically turned it into some kind of like a lottery type of scenario, or gambling, which maybe you're right.
And it has 43 million views. That is a ton of views for just a 24-hour period. It's probably actually a bit more on his real-time analytics. Now, the video is a 25-minute recreation of various games from Squid Game, played by various small-time like Twitch streamers, gaming YouTubers. I didn't see any...
They die? Probably not. Lame.
Like prominent people in this group. I didn't see any prominent streamers, but you know, I'm not big on like general streamers.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, if there was prominent streamers, I think that was kind of lame because unless they were like donating the money to charity if they won, you know.
As YouTubers, so if there were any famous ones, let me know in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to talk about specific clips in this video, but generally my thoughts, I'm pretty underwhelmed by it. And you guys might say, like, oh, YouTubers made this and it looks really good and everything. I just felt like the presentation was quite underwhelming, and like the fun of the show is because it's taking like pretty generic and like bog standard game show stuff, but the added element of like dying from it and like rich people watching this for enjoyment is what makes the show good. The show isn't really good because the games in it are like absolutely fascinating or say something like profound about human nature, in my opinion. So generally, I didn't find this too entertaining. Like the bit with the biscuits and the bit with the marble was like pretty boring.
Okay, I mean, like, sure, I don't think MrBeast was trying to recreate the message of the show. I think he's like, hey, the show's cool. What if we kind of did that but not dying? I think that was pretty much it. Sometimes this is something that I think a lot of people do need to learn, especially in like the political-ish, you know, world, is that it's not that serious. It's not always that deep. Really not always that fucking deep, bro. It's just not.
The tug-of-war one was okay, but that's pretty standard, but not that exciting. The bridge one was quite good at the end, just because I was thinking about all these people like trying to be cowards and not do it so they could win, and then there's like one brave guy who does like 3 in a row, and then he's basically doing another one, he just falls through, and then there you go, no chance of winning the money for you. But again, for something that costs so much money for...
I wanted to see the glass so that the guy would get like torn up and he fell through. He's like, oh my god, you know?
A 25-minute video. In terms of pure entertainment, I was very underwhelmed, to be honest. I think it could have been edited and filmed a lot better, and maybe they could have taken some of the money that they're using this stuff and just hire a better camera crew. It's filmed in like a very MrBeast way, full of all his friends telling like unfunny jokes, making the whole...
This is just like a criticism on the production quality. What the fuck? What? Okay.
Whole experience more painful to watch. I mean, like, if you liked Squid Game but watched the whole show while going on like Instagram and TikTok and had it on the background, perhaps you'll like this recreation because the only thing about the show was the games. But now I just want to talk about my problems with it generally. Like I said at the start, I'm going to talk about this and read an interview with the creator of the show. Squid Game is a big like metaphor for global capitalism, a story about global capitalism, and how we are all participating in this Squid Game where we all have to... Creator of the show. Squid Game is a big like metaphor for global capitalism, a story about global capitalism, and how we are all participating in this Squid Game where we all have to basically destroy each other to reach the top and reach the elite. But also has a lot of messages based on the creator's own experience of South Korea, mainly stuff to do with debt, which is an endemic right now in South Korea. So when the video pauses for MrBeast to give a big advertisement for Brawl Stars and talks about how much money Brawl Stars gave them to make this, but of course I can understand why people think this is just like pretty ridiculous.
And while they're fighting for their chance in this competition, I'm going to tell you guys about Brawl Stars, who helped fund this video, which cost over $3.5 million.
I'm not a big fan of Brawl Stars. I think we should cancel them, honestly. It's fucking boring. It's not that good. It's kind of lame. Fuck Brawl Stars. They got the other Clash game coming out, though, like the Clash Minis or whatever the fuck. It seems like a team fight tactics kind of a thing. So, I'm just saying. Fuck Brawl Stars, dude. Sorry, Supercell, but also fuck you.
Thank you so much. Bro. Brawl Stars is a
Clash Mini. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Also, like, this game Disney fucking something. Disney's Mirrorverse, but they haven't come out yet. I see the action figures in the store all the time, and I want to buy them. I want the game to be good, but like, that game's not out. You know? Because I like those kind of games. Like, if they had, like, I used to love Disney Infinity. Shit was fucking awesome. I bought, like, $400 worth of shit one day. So cool. But then they canceled it, so.
mobile game you can play at home, on the go, in this arena wherever you want against millions of people across the world. Oh, we got them! Congratulations! It's 3 minutes of adrenaline-filled...
Well, you're not supposed to be able to play it in there because the Wi-Fi is not supposed to work.
And they have 12 different game modes, including their own battle royale, which is kind of similar to what we're doing here. Okay, let's go! We have 9 winners so far, which means only 7 places remain. You said you played Brawl Stars? Oh, you both played Brawl Stars? What are your thoughts on Brawl Stars?
That's pretty fun. It's a mobile game. You can download it on Android or Apple.
I didn't come say this. You see the Brawl Stars logo? He did it. They have over 50 different characters you can play as, from a vintage-driven robot to a cactus named Spike that kind of looks like Nolan. Hey! And like all our contestants here are leaving with $2,000 for free today, every single person that plays Brawl Stars in the next 7 days, I will personally be giving you a free prize. So if you haven't already, go download it. If you yell, thank you Brawl Stars before you throw, I hear you'll flip it.
So yes, the American
Yeah, it's cringe, but who cares?
YouTuber remake of Squid Game just turns into a massive advertisement for exploitative mobile games that often prey on people's addiction, and MrBeast says that they help...
Maybe. I mean, I've played Brawl Stars. I don't think it's really that bad. They give you a decent amount of heroes, and like you don't really have to pay to play. You don't have to pay to win. That's my big thing. Like you have to pay if you want a specific hero sometimes, or you could save your shit up. But it's not like a pay to win game, so it's not really that bad. I mean, this is just a general criticism. Like all mobile games have like pay to play fucking models. Like you know, there's no mobile game you can promote. I would say that it's not nearly like the same as like something like Raid Shadow Legends. You know what I mean?
helped fund the $3.5 million budget for this video. So I don't know how much Brawl Stars covered of that cost. Let's say half at least, maybe nearly the whole thing. Who knows? But at the end of the day, what happens with this video is if Brawl Stars put up a bit of this money, then it does really two things, MrBeast. This video has a lot of ads in it. 43 million views in like one day. Man, love to see the ad revenue on this stuff. And I also believe someone like MrBeast probably gets really, really favorable CPM rates. So I believe, especially if Brawl Stars are covering at least like half the cost of this, I believe this video is going to be pretty profitable for him. So he's using these aesthetics of Squid Game to enrich himself. And people defend him and be like, well, he gives most of it away. But, you know, I really doubt that as well. And that's what my other video last week was about, how I do doubt that he gives most of his income away. And despite him saying he pays millions in taxes, I still believe the percentage of tax he pays is probably pretty minimal. And I bet a lot of you watching this video actually pay a higher percentage of tax than he does. Now when it gets to the final
what's weird is like usually like these weird fucking socialists, they'll make the argument it's like, hey, people existing in the society like not paying, they're not like the problem per se. It's the, I guess, the abuse of people. Him not paying enough taxes is an issue with like our tax code. It's not an issue with fucking MrBeast. I don't know what to tell you. The fuck play.
The video, it spends about, I don't know, 10 seconds interviewing the contestants. Two nice guys in it say they would give 100k to their mum and most of the money to their family.
I'm thinking about all of that money right now. I'm probably give most of it to my family, friends. That money's coming home with me, giving 100k straight to my mom.
Which is all well and good. Then one guy starts talking about how
Fuck you, mom. I'm keeping it, bitch. I'm just kidding. I love you.
$10,000.
I mean, I'm not kidding. I would keep it, but you know, I'm sorry for calling you bitch. If you ever watch this, sometimes you do, but you probably don't. You probably don't even know how to really get on YouTube. You fucking loser. I'm just kidding.
C's, and we should all do that.
I'm gonna pull through. I'm definitely donating about 10,000 to Team C's, which all of you should if you have the means.
If you watch that, please don't give $10,000 to Team C's and this massive MrBeast vanity project that really does nothing in the long term, and it's just him doing stuff for more clout. Because if you care about the environment so much, then A, why are you shilling crypto? And then B, why do you run a fast?
What does crypto have to do? Is crypto bad for the environment? Like, am I missing something here? Is cryptocurrency bad for the environment? Is that a thing? I just need to. Let's see. I'm curious. Like I didn't know this. Mining for his bed. How do you mine it? How do you crypto mine? I don't understand. What makes his bed? What is the? Oh, he uses a lot of computer power. So what's the negative part of it? Is it like the resources you need to get? Same with NFTs. Really? That's very interesting. I didn't even know that. Wow. It's crazy. Everything is fucking linked to abuse, bro. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, we're gonna have to look into a video on crypto mining so I can educate myself.
Fast food outlet that serves beef burgers. If you really cared about the environment so much, you would know a massive cause of global warming is massive cattle ranches in South America, which chop down the Amazon rainforest, and also cows emit methane gas, which also contributes to climate change. If you really care about the environment, then why are you doing these things?
If you care about the environment, why eat hamburger? It's true. I don't. I actually been eating more chicken.
Please don't be fooled by internet nice guys like MrBeast. And
I feel like yeah, there's a lot of abuse connected to these things, and it would be a good idea for him to move away from cryptocurrency or advocating away from it. But then also, like, I feel like he's not like, yeah, fuck the environment. You know, that's just our first world shit. We get to, like, even having a computer is, like, abusive in some capacity. Don't buy a fucking computer, bro. You're contributing to the fucking problem, too. Like, we're all doing it. None of us really care. We all just kind of sit here and virtue signal about shit.
Seeing everyone jump on this bandwagon, where they're also clout chasing by doing...
I'm just trying to get rich enough to go to Mars when that opens up, and this world dies. You know what I'm saying?
Goes on Team C's themselves, but it's under the cover of, like, well, you guys can't hate charity, and I must be a good person. I'm advocating for MrBeast charity. There are loads of, like, pretty decent charities not run by clout chasing 23-year-old YouTube millionaires who do ridiculous stunts where sometimes they spend 600k on fireworks. Please don't give money to this guy. And I don't know this about MrBeast, but with a lot of millionaires and billionaires who do charity work, you're actually funding it for your taxes. Again, if you care about that stuff.
I'd say of all the 23-year-olds millionaires, MrBeast seems like decent. He seems like a decent guy, you know. I don't have to like him, but he doesn't seem like a particularly problematic guy.
Watch last week's video. So probably the worst bit for me of this entire video is probably like the last 10 seconds or something, where MrBeast thanks the creator of Squid Game.
Congratulations on winning. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You have 7 days to win $10,000. And obviously, massive shout out to the creator of Squid Game. We took huge inspiration from the show, and I genuinely appreciate you. Goodbye.
So you genuinely appreciate the guy who made Squid Game, but you can't even bring yourself to say his actual name? Like, couldn't you...
Hey, man, I probably couldn't either. What's his
Obviously,
name?
massive shout out to the creator.
How do you say that? I would say Huang Dong Yuk. That sounds like... I feel like I just butchered that, bro. I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't say names because I've... You know what I'm saying. The fuck, I say it wrong.
Talking about how much maybe you like this guy's show, or maybe go check out his other projects. And I don't understand the legal elements of this. Like, does he have to contact Netflix and tell them he's doing this stuff? But it's pretty clear.
Probably not. I think this would fall under like some kind of parody law.
Netflix own the rights to this stuff, so you obviously don't have to ask Wang Dong-hyuk to use the aesthetics of this thing he's slaved over and put so much of his own personal life story into. But when you're ripping off someone's personal creation, which literally advocates against the system, you both...
Well, how are you going to say he rips it off and then complain that he doesn't actually capture the fucking thing? Right? Like, his biggest issue is like, hey, it doesn't encapsulate what the original one is. It's an anti-capitalist message, and you've watered it down to just the games. And then say, like, you've just ripped it off. I mean, I guess I don't know. He's just fucking doing the Squid Games. It's really not that fucking deep, man.
Advocate for yourself, and you benefit from, maybe you want to pay a little bit more lip service to him creating this amazing show. And maybe you could also acknowledge that Squid Game is dealing with like very serious topics that...
What do you want him to like give the guy a fucking blowjob on the camera? Like, maybe that's why he didn't say his name, because he's like, hey, I want to suck your dick on the thing. Creator of Squid Games, Hang Wong Chuk or something like that. I'm sorry if I don't remember the name. I'm a short-term memory loss. I'm a boomer. And he's like, no, fuck you, MrBeast, you're ugly. And then maybe he's like, well, I don't want to say his name now because he was being so rude to me about me wanting to blow him. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't know. You're making these assumptions that maybe he wanted to give him a blowjob on the fucking air.
Lives of millions of people in South Korea. I also do love him using financial incentive to encourage people to subscribe to his channel. You want to do that anyway? Why are you offering them money? Could it be MrBeast is actually really obsessed with his own image and clout chasing, rather than being some benevolent YouTube god who only makes...
I think it's just called advertising, bro.
Viral videos to fund his charities. So we're going to talk about the creator of Squid Game later and his own personal story, and then talk about how more ridiculous it makes MrBeast Squid Game seem. But just to check how people were feeling, I asked my Twitter and my Discord, what do you...
It's fucking crazy, though. Like, I mean, listen, I understand that as a society, it would be good that if we didn't have to have charities, right? If we had, if we allocated resources correctly to the places that it needs to be allocated towards so that things aren't bad. That's the way that things should happen. But we don't live in that world. So you got a guy who's really rich, and he's trying to do his best to, like, bring awareness to charities and donate money. You know? Like... Oh, what a fucking asshole. Why? It's fucking weird.
You think of this video? Do you all hate MrBeast like me? I don't really see many people on YouTube like hate MrBeast. So
why do you hate MrBeast? Like, why does he live in your head rent free? Like, I mean, because like I criticize content creators all the time, bro, but I don't like hate people. You know, like it's so weird to like hate somebody on the fucking internet like this.
Pretty much the president of the I Hate MrBeast club. So the vice president is another YouTuber called Zoe, who also has a really good YouTube channel that you guys should go subscribe to. But when I asked on Twitter what people thought, Zoe said, reminds me of when they sold capital themed clothes and makeup during the height of the Hunger Games popularity.
Capital themed clothes and makeup during the height of the Hunger Games popularity. Takes something somewhat critical of capitalism and turns it into a cartoony, unaware at best caricature of herself. You know what's so interesting is that the fundamental criticism here is that MrBeast looks at anti-capitalist messages. I don't know why I quoted it. Let's say they're anti-capitalist messages, and then he tries to capitalize on it. But all the anti-capitalist messages are movies and TV shows that operate through capitalism, that make money. All of them turn to profit. So I don't really, I just don't understand criticize the show itself. Why didn't the fucking guy who made the show donate all his money away? He's promoting an anti-capitalist message. Why isn't he giving his money away? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you have the criticism for MrBeast but not the other guy?
Takes something somewhat critical of capitalism and turns it into a cartoonishly unaware at best caricature of itself. And I agree with that.
Because you know what? I don't even think it's a criticism on capitalism. I think it's just like a show to show you why poor people are valuable. That's what I think. Not the Hunger Games, but the other one, Squid Games. It's about showing us that there is value even in poor people who can't financially contribute. Because it's funny to watch them die. That's what I got out of Squid Game. That's what I got out of the Squid Game. I thought that's what it was about. So I guess the fact that nobody seemed to have passed away during it was a really big letdown, but you don't see me complaining.
And that is something you see like throughout these like dystopian fiction novels or movies and stuff like that. There's actually a really good bit of Mr. Robot, where the revolution of that show is actually made into a TV show within the show. Just a nice commentary on how this dystopian fiction is always undercut by capitalism. Morgan Sung saying South Korean Squid Game was very hard to watch because it depicts a very real struggle of surviving under capitalism. American YouTubers, okay, but what if we did it for real? Jonathan Nichols saying there's something so utterly artificial and unsettling about a bunch
Who the fuck are these people?
of bandwagon Americans looking at a piece of well-made media with a dark message and turning it into some happy snappy game without a hint of irony or appreciation for the themes of the text. Like the sets were
Who cares? It just sounds like people that are bitching and moaning.
supposed to look like something put together for some strange game show. Correct?
Yeah, the show is about ratioing poor people, exactly.
In this emotional juxtaposition between the comfort of the setting and the horrors of the game, here that juxtaposition is completely non-existent. Someone from my Discord saying it's weakening the anti-capitalist message the Squid Game wants to make while exploiting it for clicks and the monies. Think this is the problem with all the crazy hype in Squid Games all over the globe, destroying what the show is actually about, at the same time proving its point. I think it's tone deaf, misses the point, and has a shallow good intentions. One of the scenes in Squid Game, Gi Hun talks about a labour strike that took place in real life. June democratic struggle of 1987. Koreans didn't need Squid Game to protest. Great fun video, but ironic and completely misses the point of the show. It's so full of ads and that asking for subs and that it will give you cash. Boy, the whole project was by itself a contradiction, but that was just embarrassing. Person makes real life version of anti-capitalist thing and completely misses the point in a move that surprised no one. Most ghoulish and unsurprising thing on YouTube. I think it's a very privileged thing
I just feel like it's not this deep.
to do it entirely misses the point of Squid Game's critique of capitalism, but
I'm just reading this that like half of these are just people replying to his comment, I guess, about how bad the Squid Game is. Because basically, like he probably posted and he probably posted something that was like, "Hey, fuck Squid Game," and then people were like, "Yeah, I agree," and then he's showing us this because like it's replying to him. It's like, okay, yeah, no kidding. The people that you fucking agree with, subscribe to you and agree with you, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, this is bullshit."
and that's asking for subs, and that you will
Just scroll through it though. Show us your Twitter post and scroll through it and see how much people agree with it.
give you cash. Boy, the whole project was by itself a contradiction, but that was just embarrassing. Person makes real life version of anti-capitalist thing and completely misses the point in a move that surprised no one. Most ghoulish and unsurprising thing on YouTube. I think it's a very privileged thing for him to do, entirely misses the point of Squid Game's critique of capitalism, but at least he's doing it for philanthropic reasons as opposed to profit, even if charity is super inefficient at helping people. So I both agree and disagree with the last tweet, but you guys can go watch my last video where I talk about the charity work. So the guy who actually won was like a small-time Fortnite Twitch streamer. So I mean, I'm happy for him. That money will probably like change his life. He says he's gonna give it.
They got a Fortnite Twitch streamer in there?
Where I talk about the charity work. So the guy who actually won was like a small-time Fortnite Twitch streamer. So I mean, I'm happy for him. That money will probably like change his life. He says he's gonna give it.
I can't believe a gay guy won. That's fucking gross. I'm just kidding.
To his family and stuff, so I'm happy a nice guy won because there was another guy on the show who seemed like a total douche, so I'm glad he didn't win. But now I want to talk about Hwang Dong-hyuk and Squid Game and how he made it, and then, you know, really talk about that in reference to MrBeast Squid Game. There's a really good interview with The Guardian where he talks about a lot of this stuff, but Hwang Dong-hyuk, when the creator of Squid Game, had to sell his laptop to survive while writing the series. The new project at the beginning was not easy for the South Korean producer, as he had to deal with the economic damage that even led him to sell his laptop. He said, I freely admit that I had a lot of inspiration from Japanese comics and animations over the years. When I started, I was in financial difficulties myself and spent quite a bit of time in coffee shops reading comics like Battle Royale and Liar Game. I started to wonder what would happen if I took part in these games myself. So Squid Game's creator in The Guardian, I'm not that rich, it's not like Netflix pay me a bonus. Perhaps Hwang is not as rich as the contestant who wins the top prize. He says, I'm not that rich, but I do have enough, and I have enough to put food on the table, and it's not like Netflix is paying me a bonus. Netflix paid me according to the original contract. That seems unfair. After all, the 50-year-old South Korean filmmaker has made hundreds of billions for his paymasters. Squid Game earlier this month overtook Bridgerton as the most successful Netflix show ever. According to leaked documents, a 9-episode run cost £15.5 million to produce, which works out to £1.75 per installment. Its return on that has been extraordinary. The series, which Netflix estimates has been watched by 142 households and boosted subscriber figures by 4.4 million, is thought to be worth $650 million to the streaming service. So I just realised that MrBeast could have made 2 episodes of a Netflix show that would probably last like over an hour and a half rather than make this Squid Game show. Perhaps Hwang should negotiate a performance-related clause, particularly as creating, writing, and directing it caused him so much.
Well, I'm assuming a lot of the costs came into shipping people to that spot so they don't have to pay for it. I doubt those people had to pay for their own tickets. Maybe I'm wrong. Then putting them up somewhere, hosting like a spot for them to stay so they don't have to pay for that, and then giving them money. Okay.
Much stress that he lost 6 teeth in the process. It was physically, mentally, and emotionally draining. I kept having new ideas and revising the episodes as we were filming, so the amount of work multiplied. The idea for Squid Game came out of Hwang's own family situation in 2009 after the financial crisis. I was very financially straitened because my mother retired from the company she was working for. There was a film I was working on but we failed to get finance, so I couldn't work for about a year. We had to take out loans, my mother, myself, and my grandmother. Hwang sought relief in Seoul's comic book cafes. So in the first game of the show, all 456 contestants can only move in the face of a sinister, mechanized doll is turned away from them. Those caught out are mowed down by machine gun fire. Why did Hwang create such a horrifyingly brutal contest that holds human life so cheap? He says, because the show is motivated by a simple idea. He says, we are fighting for our lives in very unequal circumstances. Are you making a profound point about capitalism? Hwang says, it's not profound, it's very simple. I do believe that overall the global economic order is unequal and that all around 90% of the people believe it's unfair. During the pandemic, poorer countries can't get their people vaxxed. They're contracting viruses on the street and even dying. So I did try to convey a message about modern capitalism. As I said, it's not profound. But then like what?
We said modern capitalism. So I try to convey a message about modern capitalism. He didn't say this isn't like necessarily an anti-capitalist message. This is a critique on the negatives of capitalism. It doesn't seem to be like a yes, I hate capitalism. It's more like I hate the negative aspects of it.
Poorer countries can't get their people vaxxed. They're contracting viruses on the street and even dying. So I did try to convey a message about modern capitalism. As I said, it's not profound. But then like what a lot of people, like MrBeast's own personal lawyer, Moist Critical, was saying, is that people...
And even he said it's not that deep. It's not profound. It's not that deep. He's saying it himself, bro.
People saying this stuff about Squid Game are hypocrites because it was for Netflix. So the article says, but isn't there a contradiction in that without money from an international corporation, your critique of global capitalism would have never been seen? Hwang laughs at me again and says, oh, The Guardian asking profound questions. Well, Netflix is a global corporation, but I don't think it is aggravating inequalities. I don't think there's a contradiction. When I was working on the project, the goal was to rank #1 on the Netflix US chart for release today, but it ended up being much more successful. The most watched show on Netflix ever. It's very surprising. It shows that the global audience is resonating with the message I wanted to reflect. But talking about like modern global capitalism, he also says, I wanted to create something that would resonate not just for Korean people, but globally. This was my dream. In this life and death struggle, social norms torn away, and the contestants attract an award audience all, in which human life is nasty, brutish, and short. We are living in a Squid Game world, Hwang says. So Hwang creates like a great modern...
Hold on. But he says not everybody in his drama is selfishly looking after #1, climbing over losers. Okay, faces one.
Torn away, and the contestants attract an award audience all, in which human life is nasty, brutish, and short. We are living in a Squid Game world, Hwang says. So Hwang creates like a great modern piece of art, criticizing Korean and global capitalism, puts himself through hell to make this show, has in the past fallen on really, really hard times, which forced him into this debt crisis himself. So he's talking from experience. So what MrBeast gets out of that is, how do I make money for myself? How do I turn this into a viral...
I don't think that MrBeast looked into it that much. Because you want to know why I think that? Because I didn't either. Okay? It's a fucking show. It's not that deep. Sounds like Netflix is kind of screwing him over pay-wise. That's pretty shitty.
Video, and yeah, also at the end, I will mention the creator for about 1 second, like literally 1 second, and I won't even say his name.
Obviously, massive shout out to the creator of Squid Game. We took huge inspiration from the show, and I genuinely appreciate you.
MrBeast strikes me as a Bitcoin bro, so I really can see him completely missing the point of this. But like I said, maybe it would be nice in your massive video ripping off this guy's work of fiction, which he really slaved away on, maybe just give him a bit more of a shout out, because it's not like he made all the money from the show. Netflix made all the money off the show. And maybe talk about the serious issues. Benevolent MrBeast, if you really care so much about people, why don't you use this Squid Game video to promote stuff that helps people in Korea, and maybe advocate for reforms to stop these predatory loan sharks, since that is the theme of the show. But according to 12-year-old MrBeast Sims, he is very, very generous and nice. So MrBeast, why don't you do this? Now, like Hwang was saying, and like many people have referenced, Squid Game is about capitalism in general. And the message there, he said it's not profound, and it's not even like really subtle. If you take the whole Squid Game show as just like an example of a capitalist hierarchy and structure, again, not very subtle. Nice subtleties in the show about various topics, but I think the overall message isn't very subtle. But I just want to talk about the debt stuff, and there's a really great like line at the end.
Well, it doesn't really give like a nuanced take on the hierarchies at all. It really talks more about like the hyper rich versus like the poor. It doesn't really necessarily critique, normal rich people, I guess. It kind of shows us that anybody of any economic status can be negatively impacted, because there's that one like really smart guy who ended up killing Ali. That shit was fucked up. That guy's a dickhead. You know what I'm saying? But he was doing well, but he embezzled money and he was an asshole.
This from a guy in South Korea who's in really bad debt. And I think this hammers home the point of the show, which again has been really undercut by the capitalist pursuits of MrBeast. So Squid Game lays bare South Korea's real-life personal debt crisis. So a month ago, after midnight when the crowd of revelers have gone, Choi Young-so crouches in a shabby alleyway in Seoul's wealthy Gangnam district. This is the only time that the 35-year-old part-time food delivery rider dare leave his tiny room at a cheap hostel he shares with about 30 other people. The rooms, he says, are only slightly bigger than coffins. In a fictional world, Choi would not be out of place among the contestants on Squid Game, the wildly popular South Korean dystopian drama that pits the heavily indebted against each other in a macabre, blood-spattered race for an unimaginably large cash prize. Household debt in South Korea has risen in recent years and is now the equivalent to more than 100% of GDP, a level not seen elsewhere in Asia. Indebtedness has gone hand in hand with a dramatically widening income gap, exacerbated by rising youth unemployment and property prices in big cities beyond the means of the most ordinary workers. In a desperate attempt to pull themselves out of their downward spiral, Troy's wife found a job at a restaurant in another part of the country, and the couple asked his parents to look after their 2 young children. Troy says he heard a lot about Squid Game, but he is unable to become a part of the global frenzy that has helped the 9-episode show amass tens of millions of viewers. He says, "You have to pay to watch it. I don't know anyone who will let me use their Netflix account. In any case, why would I want to watch a bunch of people with huge debts? I can just look in the mirror." So just like he's talking about looking in the mirror and he can't even afford to watch the show, Squid Game is a mirror to South Korean society and about their crazy debt crisis, which is caused by Korean and global capitalism, which puts so many...
Someone said, "Hey, Papa, if you see and read my message, I will break down and cry." Okay, well, I'm sorry. Hi, how are you doing?
of just your average person into the worst situation imaginable. And the point of the show is that when they're allowed to go home and not participate anymore, they all come crawling back because they want a chance to climb out of poverty, and they're going to destroy each other to get there, because that is what capitalism does. It pits the individual against the individual in the pursuit of getting out of their situation, which is caused by an elite class. So maybe you can see why it's so gross to take that message, bastardize it, and turn it into a profit.
Yeah, but you're kind of bastardizing it, because that's not really his overall message. Because your message is like anti-capitalist. His message seems to be like anti the shitty aspects of capitalism. Maybe we're both just deriving the message from it, but it seems like you're being very hyperbolic about your interpretation of the message.
Generating video for your own business, as MrBeast has done, while filling it with YouTube ads, sponsors, and saying, "Well, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I might give you 10 grand. Is that like Americans summed up for you or what? So MrBeast literally put some respect on Wang's name, which you can't even bring yourself to utter.
Massive shout out to the creator of Squid Game.
That's how much respect you have for the show, and respect for the creator for making this amazing show. You can't even say his name, but you can rip off his work of art. So, MrBeast, I have cancelled you. Don't even try and run and hide. You're not working again. Everyone's going to see my video, and they're going to realize how exploitative you are.
I wonder, like, if that part is, do you think he's just putting that energy out into, like, the universe? You know what I mean? He's just like, I want to put this energy in the universe. Like, I'm going to cancel you, MrBeast. I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to make, my penis will get bigger. After this video, my penis is going to get bigger. It's going to get longer and thicker. That's going to get, like, that's what, I'm putting the energy in the universe. Right? I'm trying to think about what else I want to put in the universe. I'm going to have a good shit after this stream. You know what I mean? Like, not like a shit, a good one. Not like a sticky one. I don't like the slug ones. I want to have like a good, like a controllable diarrhea. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like something that comes out like a loose poop. Comes out pretty easy. The wipe's pretty clean. Something quick. You know? Yeah, he recorded this video and said this is the one. Ghost swipe, yeah.
And if you're not convinced by this one simple video, go check out my other 2 videos, because I believe we needed 3 videos to finally cancel MrBeast. That's the way cancel culture works. Sorry, MrBeast Sims, all you conservatives and liberals say this is how cancel culture works, so I'm trying to prove your theory. I did want to talk a bit more about how game shows are like inherently exploitative and prey on poor people, and I believe MrBeast has actually done this more so in his video about these people competing to win $1 million.
Do game shows really prey on poor people? It's not like you lose anything if you lose a game show, though. Like, I would say that gambling preys on poor people more than anything else. Like, the gambling is the way that you basically like tax poor people. You know, you lower the taxes, then you some of these people go spend like $20 a fucking day or even a week on this shit. It's fucking crazy, bro. You shouldn't be doing that.
Which I've talked about in previous work as well, but that is something to keep in mind when you watch these stupid game shows too. Anyway, that is it for the video. If you want to follow me on social media, @TheKavernacle on Twitter and Instagram, come join our Discord.
I don't.